All right, everybody. Celtics rout the Bucks in a Sunday matinee, 107-79. We'll hit that, plus the games we missed from earlier in the week. Our thoughts on Jason Tatum's comments, comeback, maybe on pause. We'll let you know what we think about that. All-Stars are announced earlier today as well. Plus, we will take a look at the latest trade buzz leading up to the deadline on February 5th, this Thursday. Trade deadline coming up. So a lot going to be happening this week. And of course, we've got America's favorite Mediocre Life update. All that and more coming up next here on Green with Envy. You guys know the deal. Let's lock in. What up, what up, what up? Welcome into another edition of Green with Envy. As always, this is your boy Will Weir checking in. How you doing? How you living? Joining me on a Sunday night, as he does each and every time, my best friend, co-host, and the coach of our podcast, the one and only Greg Menakis. Greg, little Sunday matinee action for the Celtics today. I like it. I like the Sunday afternoon games.
You know what my favorite thing about podcasting with you now is because the baby's in a new room, you're bringing your volume down, so you have this like different energy about your intro and everything about the way that you're speaking. It's like a little bit more NPR-y, but I'm into it. I like it.
Is it gonna be like disc jockey, like soft rock, like smoother?
Yeah, a little David Allen Boucher magic.
Yeah, you gotta get versatile. So a little behind the scenes here. Baby girls in the next room these days. So nighttime recordings, daytime. So it's gonna be kind of interesting to go back and listen to an afternoon podcast, and you're gonna get probably loud, boisterous, hyper energetic. Here it's gonna be a little bit more calm and reserved. Gonna give it to you a little bit more smooth jazz here on the ones and twos, taking your requests. That type of vibe. So we're still gonna make it work.
Dance, some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross.
Exactly. Hey, Kanye's back. He's writing apology letters. So, we're getting him back on the ones and twos here. But for today's episode, so we didn't have an episode during the week. I was doing some traveling for work. So we'll catch up on what we've missed here leading up to this matinee today. But then, of course, we got to hit Jason Tatum's or not even his comments, but the reports about coming out from his camp earlier in the week. We got to hit that. All-Stars were announced earlier today. A little bit of trade news out there, so we'll hit that. And then, of course, on the back end, we'll have that Mediocre Life update for you. But, Greg, let's start today with that Sunday matinee. No Giannis, so kind of what we expected from the Bucks, although the Bucks did get the Celtics earlier in the year without Giannis, but they got their revenge today. Celtics 107-79 over the Bucks. Back-to-back games, if you include that Friday night game where this team's obviously had an unbelievably impressive season. I think these last two games are one of the only times I would classify it as these are two pretty easy wins, Greg. And they felt that way. They felt that way the entire time.
Started sweating a little bit against the Bucks, especially after the last time we played where Bobby Portis and Kyle Kuzma just went bananas, and they get up to like a 12-0 start in this game. If you missed the game, Bucks came out hot, Celtics came out cold, and 12-0, Missoula calls the timeout, and we start to right the ship a little bit from there. And there were these like little momentum plays early on where I think Jaylen Brown, there was like a long rebound that Jaylen was able to like knock away from Ryan Rollins that led to a 3-pointer, and just like little things like that. Just the last time we played the Bucks, I felt like they would have went the other way, but this time they started to go our way. And then the Inferno, man, when the Inferno gets rolling, watch out.
Yeah, that was turned up today for the Inferno. My cousin was at the game, so he sent me a picture of it because he's a big Anthony Simons fan. So every time he goes off, I always get a text message from him about Anthony Simons. And today he was spectacular. 10 of 18 from the field, 6 of 10 from three, ends up with 27 points and 3 rebounds. And Greg, you mentioned beginning of the game, 12-0 Bucks run. That first game it was Portis and Kuzma. Beginning of this game, it felt like, oh, we're just replacing Portis with Ryan Rollins, and we're going to get the Rollins and Kuzma battle that's going to happen here. And Ryan Rollins stayed pretty. Ryan Rollins. I've been very impressed with him all year. He's been a surprising spot for the Bucks, but it was really he was kind of the only bright spot once you got beyond the first quarter for the Bucks, and then Anthony Simons coming in to kind of change that energy, change that momentum. He got real hot early, and you can tell. I remember we talked about Sam Hauser either the last episode or the episode before, where when his shot goes in, it feels different. When Simons gets a certain level of confidence, it feels different. And I know Mark Jones was on the call today, and I loved one of the threes that Simons hit. I think it was maybe the buzzer beater at the first quarter, where he said the audacity of this shot. And I love the way he said it, because some of Anthony Simons' shots are, in fact, quite audacious.
Yeah, man, and it's a bummer that we got that report about Jason Tatum. Tatum comes out. Well, he didn't come out and say it, but as you said, there was a report about Jason Tatum apparently rethinking whether or not he's going to come back this season, which we're going to dive into a little bit more here in a second. But I keep wanting to see Anthony Simons play with Jason Tatum. The trade deadline is this week, this Thursday, and I'm just praying that Anthony Simons is still on the Boston Celtics and that Jason Tatum gets a chance to play with him.
What's your gut What's your gut take on, if do you think past whatever it is, 3:00 on Thursday, whatever time it is on Thursday, do you think Anthony Simons will be suiting up Friday when the Celtics play the Heat?
Man, it's that hopeful optimism that I have within me as a black sheep optimist, and I think he's going to be on the Boston Celtics. Thursday evening, we'll still see Anthony Simons. I think you'll hear reports of teams offering, deals for Simons, like we heard about the Bulls offering Nikola Vucevic for Simons, and the Celtics apparently turned that down, as they should have. I think that he's playing himself into a worthy playoff asset right now, and he seems to want to be here. I don't know if you caught the young man in the 3-pod, Will, that had a few Celtics players on it, but Simons was talking about how this is an opportunity he's just been waiting for in his grown up NBA, because he was early in his career with the Trailblazers. He was just a young kid.
Yeah, and so it's with Simons, like you said, to your point, turn down whatever the Vucevic offer was. On the flip side, there was also the report the Celtics did go after Vika Zubac, who we've talked about many a time, and their offer was turned down, which supposedly that offer was Simons, a first-round pick. I believe it was a swap, and then it would have been Zubac plus a bad contract to kind of make the numbers work. And the Clippers, who, depending on when this offer was made, probably, I think for both sides, I think it's the appropriate offer for the Celtics. And I think it's also probably the right move for the Clippers to turn that down, depending on when that happened, when they were 6-21, or now where they're, back in the play-in and making a charge. So it's going to be interesting this week to see what happens. My gut take is I think Simons is going to be here. It's hard to see a move that's going to make sense. Now, again, this is going to tie into, I think, when we talk about Jason Tatum here in a few. Whatever happens this week is going to be very telling, I think, for how the Celtics feel internally about whether or not Jason Tatum is coming back this year. And if I would honestly lean, and this is where it's a little weird, right? Like, you could make the case either way. If Simons is on this team, you can make a strong case like, hey, they're doing everything that you've been asking for, Greg. They want to see Simons and Tatum together. Or I think you could pretty easily make the inverse argument where Simons is still here. They don't think Tatum's coming back. They didn't try to move him or flip him for a future asset, right? Or, so it's going to be an interesting week to see what happens and what tea leaves we get. But games like this tonight, and especially you look at, Jalen was great tonight as well, but in the Kings game, Pritchard was great. It's nice to have these nights where you're playing a team that's clearly inferior, and you don't need, even though Jalen was great, like I said, in this Bucks game, he didn't have to be as good, and you still would have won this game, right? Because you have Simons flamethrowing, you had Pritchard flamethrowing against the Kings, right? So you can have different guys step up to just ease the burden on your stars, right? And so Anthony Simons is kind of a key guy for that. And when you bring Tatum back, it's just going to be nice to have that extra level of a guy that can get hot, and maybe Tatum can just do some of the small stuff as he continues to potentially ramp back up.
Yeah, and Jalen was great in that third quarter as well. He was 5 for 9 in the third, 1 for 1 from 3. I think he ended up hitting 1 or 2 more threes in the fourth quarter. We got really hot in that second half. 4 threes.
4 threes in the game. Exactly.
Yeah. So he was great. He ended up with a double 30 and 12, was it? I think
13, 12 defensive rebounds, but 13 rebounds overall.
Yeah, and he was, I think he had that double by halftime. He was really going for it. He was just we talk about Jalen all the time with, his MVP level play. Is he at the MVP level? Is he just below that? It's just, it doesn't really matter whether or not he's in that conversation. He's doing everything that the Celtics need him to do on a nightly basis. And tonight they needed him to be physical. They needed him to guard Bobby Portis from time to time, and they needed him to rebound because the Bucks.
Did you see the Bobby Portis clip, by the way?
I don't know which clip you're referring to. No.
So he was mic'd up during the game, and he was, I think that it was early on, and like they got like a tie up or something, and Bobby Portis, who would you call him, Crazy Eyes, right?
Crazy eyes, Bobby Portis, yeah.
He smacked Jalen Brown's ass, saying like "Let's go," but like it was very, very aggressive. Like, yeah, he kind of did one of those. And he was like, "Let's go, me and you, let's go," and just like, but like, I'm a little surprised at Jalen, who got in that dust up with Giannis. Was it last year? I think when Giannis like smacked him on the butt or something like that. I was surprised Jalen didn't really react because it was a very aggressive move by Bobby Portis.
Well, they like each other. Bobby Portis and Jalen Brown are buddies. So that they always compete. They go at each other. They got a ton of respect for each other. So it's not like a beef stew Jalen Brown thing where they want to fight. Jalen Brown and Bobby Portis just want to compete. And I think that was one of those, masculine ass tap things that guys do.
it was very masculine, very masculine. But yeah, in this game, Celtics end up with the blowout here again, back-to-back kind of nice wins. Greg, give me your thoughts here quickly on earlier in the week, Celtics Hawks. I was traveling during this one, so I only caught some of the highlights. My take from a distance was Celtics just never got their mojo going in this one, but very curious to just get your quick thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's just a stinker of a game, man. And me and Phil were texting about it in the first quarter. We were just like, this is one of those games where it feels like we're due for one. And the Celtics just never really had a chance to get it going. There was like a run, I forget, it was either in the late third or the early fourth that had me hoping, but for the most part,
I
it was
caught
just
that part. That was
game.
the one. It was like, this is the moment. If they're gonna get back in this game, it's right now. I think it got to like 7 minutes left, and it was like someone. I think the Hawks hit like back-to-back threes. It was like, all right, this is just not gonna happen.
I honestly, man, I can't remember all the intricacies of that game, but I'm pretty sure we were shorthanded in the front court. I think that was the game. Either Cato or Garza was out. One of them two was out. We just were too small. The Hawks they're a really physical, lengthy team. And, Jalen Johnson he's a freak out there on the court, like 6'9", jump out the gym. He was giving us a lot of problems. Alexander Walker had a great game. He was hitting some banana shots. Dyson Daniels was giving Jalen Brown problems. Jalen had a bunch of turnovers in that one. And it was just one of those games where I chalked it up to the Celtics being tired. Jalen Brown sits the next game, which I thought made a lot of sense because he looked exhausted in that game. And it was just, full season catching up to them. Bunch of guys, fighting out of their weight class for an entire season. And I think it's one of those games you just throw away. I wasn't concerned about it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And, now with this game, Milwaukee in the rear view, we're, a couple of games away here and we're hitting the All-Star break. So Celtics are going to have that reprieve. So just a quick look here at the week ahead, which is going to include the trade deadline, which we'll get to, moves that have already been made and anything that we're hearing here or we're seeing across the internet. But coming up this week, Greg, back-to-back, they're coming to Texas. They're coming to our home state here. It's going to be Dallas on Tuesday and then Houston on Wednesday. Interesting matchups for the Celtics, specifically as Dallas and Houston played last night in the national televised game. And dude, I mean, I've watched a couple Cooper Flag games, but obviously Cooper Flag made massive news this week when he dropped 49 points. Him and Con Knippel went back and forth. I think last night his numbers were like 32, 12, and 5. Cooper Flag is so fucking impressive, man. He's
really good. He's really good, and he's so young, man. And seeing him play in the NBA, and I caught the DeBonsa versus Peterson game this weekend, Kansas versus BYU.
I caught some of that,
yeah, and it was just like when you see Flag and what he's able to do on the court with the size that he has. There's just like a savvy to his game that you don't see from a lot of kids his age, because he's supposed to be his freshman year in college this year, right? He ended up reclassifying so he could end up
19. I saw because obviously he was the youngest player to ever score almost or score 49 whatever, and he was 19 years and 39 days.
Yeah
39. Everyone else was like 19 and was like about to turn 20. He's 39. He was barely a month over being 19. That's crazy.
And it reminds me a lot of watching young LeBron, honestly, man. Like, I don't want to make those comparisons just because LeBron, the chosen one, he was that guy coming out of high school. And with Flag, the 49 points that he dropped the other night, it just like had me having flashbacks to LeBron against the Pistons when he just like unlocked to that jump shot, and he was just like, oh, like if I'm hitting these jump shots, there's nothing you can do, but I'm not just going to be a jump shooter. And Cooper Flag, his game, like his feel for the game is crazy that he has it already at 19 years old. And if he ever develops, a consistent mid-range jump shot, I don't even think he needs like a knockdown 3-point shot. He just has to have like a go-to midi. And Kawhi Leonard made a living out of that. Plenty of guys have made a living out of that.
LeBron never really developed a knockdown three. Like he was still going to live with the three. Like, you know what I mean? True. LeBron was in his low to mid 30s at best, usually.
Yeah. It was like, will LeBron develop a post game? That was the question more than will LeBron develop a 3-point shot. So he's fun. I'm excited to watch him against the Celtics. Jaylen Brown's going to be ready for that matchup, so that'll be fun to watch.
How crazy is it that dude's from Maine? Like being from Maine is just it's still hard to wrap my head around.
Does he have a twin brother?
He does it that plays at the University of Maine right now as a freshman. Because to your point, they're I think they're twins.
Either, right, they're twins.
Yeah.
Had like the crazy growth spurt, and his brother never had like that 6'8" growth
Canes
spurt.
Dogs, they're crazy. Who knows?
6'3" maybe.
Yeah.
Excuse me as I burp.
Isn't that and that's weird too? I feel like twins are always at least usually the same height. You know what I mean? Like it's
Bro,
I don't
twins
know.
freak me out, dude. Let's not go there.
Yeah, they're a little bit. I saw the Morris twins were actually at that KU BYU game you were talking about.
Dude, I was actually thinking, I was like thinking a lot about twins recently because my cousin out in LA, his name's Bo Profit. I forget what high school he goes to, but he's a junior this year and he's killing it. And he was like named one of the top 50 players in the state or something like that recently. And he's just like crushing it, like getting steals, breakaway dunks, alley-oops. Like the kid's really good. But he has a brother, Bryce, who didn't have the growth spurt that Bo had. Bo's like 6'6". I think Bryce is maybe like 6'2". And I was just thinking a lot about like the differences. Bo ended up choosing basketball. I think Bryce plays tennis. And it's just like they're so different, like personalities and everything. They're so different. If you think back to like in high school, shout out to the Burke twins, like they, fraternal twins, they didn't look anything alike and they didn't really act anything alike either. And then I was thinking about the Harrison twins on Kentucky because I was watching Kentucky this weekend. Remember the Harrison twins when they were supposed to be like the big thing?
And then they didn't really do anything until the tournament. And then I think it was them, maybe plus Julius Randle, like led them to the Final Four or to the NCAA championship.
Even them in the NBA, like they didn't really have an NBA career. And they were supposed to be these hyped, super hyped twins. And I was thinking about Thompson twins and all these twins that are involved in the NBA. And
Lopez,
who are going to be the greatest twins of all time is the real question that I've been thinking about.
So I've seen a lot of, the Royal Rumble for WWE was this weekend. So a few people had like WWE Royal Rumble, all NBA All-Star ideas, a twins battle royale, or even just maybe we just call it a brothers battle royale. So we can expand it out a little bit. Like that'd be kind of cool. You get Lonzo and LaMelo, Seth and Steph. You get the Lopez brothers. You get the Morris twins can come out. They're kind of the guys out of retirement. Here come the Morris twins.
Yeah,
Blake Griffin and Taylor Griffin start coming out. Like you can get really fun with it. Like with some of the deep cuts that you could go to. I think that would be that'd be a fun NBA All-Star event. But just back to this week for the Celtics here. Dallas, Houston coming up, and then we'll have the trade deadline. So we'll know what this team will look like by Friday when the Celtics are back home against the Heat. But Greg, let's go back to what was easily the biggest story of the week that we did not have a chance to give our thoughts on. And that's what has seemed like a foregone conclusion, mostly based on his own comments, to be fair, that Jason Tatum was going to be coming back this year. Now, over the week, there were really kind of two separate moments in which it made it seem a little bit unclear as to whether or not this would be the case. First, Tatum appeared on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, and Fred Taylor, and talked a little bit about his mental mindset and what it would be like should he come back? Is he going to mess it up? Things that we've kind of hinted at that we want to start getting into, but it's kind of difficult to do. Feels like a little bit of a waste until we know. I think once you get past the trade deadline, whether or not we know, we can start to really hash out that conversation. But the mentality behind that was where this kind of started. And then Chris Haynes on the association show that he does with Robin Lopez, and I don't remember the woman's name that hosts the show as well. This is where he talked about that sources, I'm going to read just the tweet that he put out. Sources: Boston Celtics star Jason Tatum, Achilles recovery, is reevaluating his situation and is now considering sitting out the entire 25-26 season. Final decision has yet to be determined. If you can, Greg, go back to the moment. Just give me your initial thoughts when you saw this. And I know we had a few friends that texted us this clip as well.
I was a little defiant at first, where I was like, this is bullshit. Like, there's no way that this is like a real report that's coming out right now. It's just like we haven't gotten a yes or a no whether or not he's coming back. So like he's always been evaluating. He's still evaluating whether he's coming back this year. No one has like said to Jason Tatum, like, are you coming back? And he said definitively, like, I will be back this season. So it's always been an evaluation. He's been putting himself in the best position possible. So I was a little frustrated with like the timing of the report, and I didn't really understand why that report would like come out right at this time. The conspiracy theorists out there will tell you it was to put pressure on the Celtics to make a move or not make a move or something like that. So I was a little defiant at first and frustrated at the report, but overall, I think it's what matters is the quotes from Mazzulla that came out afterwards, where I don't know if you had a chance to catch those quotes, but he was like, this is just what we've been doing all year. Like this is nothing.
Right.
Like Jason Tatum's been working hard, and he's going to be back or he's not going to be back, but he's going to work hard every day.
Yeah, I think for me it was probably more of my own fault. There was like a slight disappointment, like, man, but then I realized, like, if I go back in time, I was saying louder than anybody, like, just sit out, stop talking about coming back, like, just sit out. And I think because the team has been better than expected, and then you mix that with, his comments, which to your point, he's never said one way or the other. But they certainly, through the tea leaves, kept continually made it feel like this dude's picking a date. Like this guy's like getting there. And it's all been interpretation. There's never been one defiant, like, or definitive, hey, here's when I'm coming back. Here's the plan. It's let's see how we're progressing. We'll see how we're doing. And every single, member of the Celtics organization has always said that. Like, we'll get to a point where rehab hits a point of should he come back, should he not? And we'll see what the options are. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's always been that way.
This is why, like, because there was that one quote that Tatum put out there that led to a lot of people like start looking at dates, because he said something about like the team will have played 50 some odd games,
50
like
or 60 games or something.
Yeah, when I come back. And so people start targeting like all these dates, because he said he wanted to come back at home and all that stuff. And it just had me thinking, like, this is why I said Tatum should come off the bench, man. Like, come off the bench for the first 10 games that you're back. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. The team is already rolling right now. Like, there's a lot of great things happening with the starting lineup and all the advanced numbers with Kata on the court and Hauser on the court, and the stuff that they've been doing and the improvements they've made this season. And like Tatum, you don't need to come back and like be Jason Tatum. We just want to see you on the basketball court. That's all we need to do, is see you play basketball, right? Like, I don't need you to be Superman right now. I just need you to have a jersey on instead of like the fresh fits that you're wearing every night on TD Garden. That's all I really care about, is like seeing Jason Tatum back. And then I think he's only going to be additive as long as the Celtics aren't putting undue pressure on him to be Jason Tatum of years past. Just let him know, like, hey, go out there and like, not to be a role player, but you don't have to be who you were. And he's been the guy in the past that has filled in the gaps already. So I'm not worried about him like needing to put the Superman cape on, because he is such a versatile player.
Yeah, it's interesting because he certainly doesn't need to. And I think what you just said is all the things that you're going to hear from Mazzulla. You're going to hear from people who are realistic on what is to be. You look at some of the quotes, some of the stuff he was saying on that podcast, right? You talk about his mentality, and like, he is Superman in his head. He literally was Superman in a commercial like the day after he tore his Achilles last year. Like, that was a very ill-timed commercial, but like, that's who he is. And again, you hear, some of these comments about the Olympics and stuff, and Tatum's had a lot of time to think, man. And sometimes that's your own worst enemy, when you have that much time to think and you're sitting there almost in your head playing these games. And it sounds like, mentally that Tatum is playing some of these games himself, because he's had so much time, where I wonder for him, if he comes back, it's going to be hard for him to do exactly what you're saying, right? And not try to just be like, hey guys, first time I step on a court, I'm back to being top 4 or 5 player in the world. first team All NBA and try to be that guy, which eventually he likely will be. But more likely than not, it's not going. Whatever version of him comes back this year is not that. But I think it's going to be tough for him, and only he knows this. Mentally, can he balance, like, listen, I'm going to come back, I'm going to do what the team needs, and I'm going to be, you said not a role player, but I don't know what else to call him, a super role player or whatever it might be. Like, that's the appropriate way to kind of ease him back in. But none of us are going to be can ever imagine mentally what it's like to be that guy that's at the top. That's the best player on a championship team. But now him and Jalen have, in a weird way, almost flipped roles a little bit, where he didn't get the finals MVP. So now there's the doubt on Tatum. He didn't play in the Olympics. So now it's like, what happened to this top 5 guy? And so now it's like everything that Jalen was fighting for the respect, for the acknowledgement, almost in a weird way, Tatum was closer to getting everything that he always wanted, and now is probably more in Jalen's shoes than he's ever been, trying to fight back for all of those acknowledgments.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And that's why I was so surprised when I saw some of the trades that came out, or the trade that came out with the Cavaliers.
Yeah, let's get to
it. Thinking about the way that they moved DeAndre Hunter for Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder, where I'm thinking, hey, they got DeAndre Hunter last year because there's a game against the Celtics where they had nobody to cover Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. That was like the whole reason they made that trade. And I'm like, okay, now they trade DeAndre Hunter for 2 undersized guards when they already have 2 undersized guards that are like the engine of their team. So I was really confused by it. But as we're talking this through, I'm like, maybe this is them looking around at the Celtics and being like, you know what? Jason Tatum's not coming back. We don't necessarily need a DeAndre Hunter to guard Jason Tatum and match up with him. Like we have other guys that might be able to match up more with Jaylen Brown just because he's a little bit smaller than Tatum is. But that just like really had me thinking as we're talking this through right now. Could this potentially be reading the tea leaves as to Jason Tatum and what other teams are thinking about whether or not he's going to be back?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you look at the East, right? And a guy like Keon Ellis, who Celtics were rumored to be in on as well. You look at his particular skill set, 3-and-D, more so he's going to be guarding a lot of perimeter guards. Just look through the East. Cade Cunningham's probably a little big for him, but Cade Cunningham. You look at the Knicks, Jalen Brunson. You look at the he's on the Cavaliers now, but you look at the 76ers, Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
Those are going to be a lot of the guys that you're going to be looking at to go up against to get through the East. And, Garland's certainly not guarding those guys. Donovan Mitchell, you would like to think could take some of that responsibility, but he carries so much of the offensive burden that you don't want to put that on him because you know what you need offensively. So it's not
Schroeder's a really good 94-foot defender. He can like really get up and guard in people's jerseys.
I got a soft spot for Schroeder. I always Schroeder's a little bit underrated. You don't want him closing games. I've said that many times. But if Dennis Schroeder's like alcohol. If you use him responsibly, he can be your best friend. You have to use him. You have to use him responsibly in order to make that the case. But it was interesting to me seeing the reaction from like writers and analysts. And a lot of people, I mean, it saved the Cavs a bunch of money, but yeah, I don't know. To the point of DeAndre Hunter last year, I thought that was a great move last year. It hasn't worked out. It didn't work out. But I looked at that like, oh shit. The one thing I was looking at that I didn't take the Cavs super seriously about, they kind of fixed that hole, because I was thinking about it from comparing it to even the Celtics this year, right? And whatever the Celtics do in the next couple of days. And whether or not Tatum comes back, more so if Tatum comes back, one of the things you got to think about is, okay, if the Celtics are actually going to be a team that can make the NBA Finals, you look at that front line, Queta and Garza probably can't get you through 3 rounds, never mind 4 when you get to the West. And I think for the Cavs, at least last year, when I liked the DeAndre Hunter trade, it was because I was looking at their team and I'm like, cool, you got a dynamic backcourt. Your front court is great. You got some depth to it. But then if I look at your wings, and there's so many good wings across the league, whether it's the Jays, whether it's OG and Mikal Bridges, even Cade, who's big, you got to handle him. Giannis at the time, the Magic have Paolo and Franz when you're looking up and down. And, when it was like, cool, you guys have Max Strus and Sam Merrill. Like, not bad guys, but you're not matching up with any of those names I just mentioned. So DeAndre Hunter at least leveled the playing field. That was the idea behind it. It gave you more of a chance, and then you used your other advantages. And it made me think a little bit of the Celtics, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of days here, because I think addressing that front court, as good as Luka Garza has been, like, that just I think Kata can be one of the guys. He can't be the only guy. I think Kata can be one of the guys. I still don't think Garza, once you get to round 2 and 3, is going to play in a deep series. In a series that goes 6 or 7, he's probably on the bench by game 5.
Yeah. I would probably imagine that with all the game planning that goes on and how super specific you can get with tendencies. And Garza plays at like 110% in the regular season, where other guys are playing at like 85 to 90%. It's like very rare he's going up against a guy with his motor. And in the playoffs, like that's playing field is leveled. People just play super hard. Like even the stars are playing the hardest they've ever played before. And Luka Garza's motor isn't going to be at the level that it is in the regular season comparatively to what other guys are, right? People are going to match up with that. So I would imagine Garza, as much as I've loved what I've seen out of him this year, gets played out of a series, as you said, by the middle of that series. Kata, I love what I see out of him, man. I think the physicality that we're seeing, the wherewithal that he has to relocate on those drives to the basket, being up at the level of the screen, playing and drop, Spain
some of the plays in the he made a great play in the short roll today where he kicked it out for a 3. Like he's made some really nice reads.
He's just good. So, Kata, I think, is going to be the starting center. I don't think the Celtics are going to make a move for a center that's better than Kata, but I do think if they make a move, there will be another big added.
Yeah, that's kind of so. Let's end here on this segment here of like just a prediction for this week. If the Celtics do anything, I think it's going to be like a Day'Ron Sharp, like somewhere in that range. I'd have to really think about like who else might be available. A guy I forgot about that's certainly not going to be available now, but would have been an interesting addition. Would have been Clint Capella. Just watching that Mavericks and Rockets game the other night. Now with Adams' injury, he's not going to be available because they need the depth. But yeah, I think it's somewhere along that Day'Ron Sharp look. Like I don't think Gafford's coming. I don't really know who else would be available, but I think that's the type of guy that if the Celtics get somebody, it's going to be around that area.
Let's make a bold prediction just for the hell of it. Let's say the Celtics do make a big trade and they trade Anthony Simons and a pick and a Jordan Walsh. Who do you think we could get back? Because it's not Zubac. That was like the level that we. But maybe it's because the Celtics didn't put in like a Ugo into that trade, right? Maybe the Celtics convinced themselves it's worth putting in an Ugo in that deal, and like maybe that swings. The Clippers, I doubt it because the Clippers are playing so well right now. Like that, I think Zubac is long gone. I don't think he's getting traded now because the Clippers have turned their season around. So like the Gafford is someone that we've talked about. I'm just trying to think of a guy that we haven't mentioned on the podcast yet that the Celtics might end up getting, where we're just like, whoa, the Boston Celtics got this guy.
I mean, my mind's almost going towards they go for like more length, like another big wing. And I was kind of thinking, I'm just looking at the Pelicans here because I just like is it Herb Jones or is it Trey Murphy? Like Trey Murphy's probably the most expensive, one of the most expensive guys on the market. So that would be like Simons, Ugo, and several picks probably if that even has a chance to get done. Like that's probably what that looks like. Herb Jones, maybe that's a little bit less expensive, but I'm thinking like if you're thinking, hey, we can't get another true big to go along with it, that's really going to make an impact. But maybe we're thinking we're getting Tatum back. Tatum kind of fills at least a power forward void, right? Where you can play him with Kata or with Garza, even in the small minutes that you have. So you still have more size out there. And then the moments that you need Tatum to play small ball 5, if you can get a guy that scales up, right? Maybe that's the way to go. A wing that scales up and can play in more versatile lineups. That would be my bold predictions. They look at one of those Pelicans wings. I don't really see that getting done, but that's my bold prediction. Who would you target, or who would you think? Maybe
I'm just gonna throw this out there.
Chance. Yeah, go for it.
Bobby Portis.
Hey, honestly,
we just played him. He makes $14.5 million.
See, the only problem with again, I think the Celtics do have a traded a TPE that they might be able to use on that. How many years? If you're looking at how many years are left on that deal,
it goes through 27, 28 player options, so we'd have him through next season.
Okay, that's honestly not terrible. And I've seen a couple of deals where Bobby Portis has to go out to make some of these Giannis concoctions work. Right? It's not terrible. right? Just to give the Celtics another option, and hell, give them a little crazy, right? Give
Yeah.
them a little bit of like a wild card. And we saw it early. We just talked about it. The first game Celtics played the Bucks this year, Bobby Portis went bananas, right?
Yeah.
He didn't
And
miss.
like
Him and Kyle Kuzma shot 85% or some shit.
if we're gonna match up with the Pistons and their physicality, like we need somebody else that's gonna be super physical.
Oh my god, Beef Stew
Unfortunately,
and Bobby
Will,
Portis over 7 games.
that would be fun as shit. Unfortunately, I do think if we went Bobby Portis, I think we'd have to give up on like a Sam Hauser. I think like that level of contract would be the contract that needs to go out. I don't know if I would be willing to give up Sam Hauser just to get Bobby Portis and add some
I wouldn't do
physicality
that.
because of how good Sam has been and how much of a weapon he
Yeah,
is. Um, but that's like the type of guy that I'm just like, there's just got to be somebody out there because you know you're not going to be able to trade with anyone that's trying to like make the playoffs, right? Like the
right.
Bucks are going to be selling, so you're pretty much limited to the Bucks, the Nets, the Wizards, maybe the Pacers, and then
Jay
you get
Huff. I
down
thought
to
about Jay
like
Huff one time when we watched the Celtics play the Pacers. I don't know how much different that is really than what you're getting from Luka Garza, but that was a guy that I was like, yeah, maybe, but then I don't know if it's different enough.
yeah, the Kings have already started their fire sale, so maybe there's somebody there. Kings, Pelicans, Jazz, and probably I guess you could go Grizzlies and Mavs in there too, because those teams are going to be trying to tank their way out.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, man. I don't know if there's another name out there that I haven't really thought of before. What's that guy's name on the Jazz? He's like a big
Kessler?
wing that's a pretty good
Oh,
defender.
big
No,
wing.
what's his name? Taylor Hendricks, maybe?
Taylor Hendricks. Yeah, he was a top draft pick of theirs like 3 years ago, maybe something like
Yeah,
that
number 9
on a
pick in the
UCF.
2023 draft. But like a big guy like that, like Noah Clowney. I don't think Noah Clowney's
Right.
getting traded because I think the Nets see him as like a real piece. But
Mhm.
Taylor Hendricks, Noah Clowney, like some other
Yeah.
big
The
wing
big
that's out
wing,
there.
I think, is the backup alternative to all the bigs that we've been racking our brains for. I think the big wing that's like 6'8" to 6'10" that can
Mhm.
scale up, I think that's probably the type of guys. And yeah, I mean, we've named a couple that are out there. Yeah, we'll have to see, but I think that would be where the Celtics would go if they can't get a big that they think makes a difference. And
Yeah.
will they trade Simons? I'm leaning no. But we'll see. And I think, again, when we come back on these airwaves after the trade deadline, I think we'll have a lot more to give our thoughts on what we think this means for Jason Tatum, one way or the other. So stay tuned. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of updates here later in the week. Quickly here, Greg, before we hit our mediocre life update, All-Stars were announced earlier tonight. Just want to run through these here quickly. Let's do the East first here. So we have the starters. Jaylen Brown is one of your 5 starters. In the East, we have Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Johnson, Karl-Anthony Towns, Pascal Siakam, Norman Powell, Scotty Barnes of your Toronto Raptors, and Jalen Duren. Any thoughts?
I saw Alex put in the chat. He says, "How is Embiid not an all-star, but Norman Powell is?" I don't think the Sixers want Joel Embiid to be an all-star. I don't think they want him anywhere near that all-star game and getting hurt. But you know, Giannis is going to be out, so maybe he's
He
the guy
might
that gets named, and then he's going to be like, "No, I don't want to go. Like, I
right,
can't go." But he at least gets that on his resume because he
especially
deserves
for the
it. He's been
setup,
playing
right?
well,
Because the USA versus World, so it will
right?
have to be a world replacement. He's also played 28 games. Like, you know, it's better than I guess we thought. But I was looking at it earlier actually because people were saying, why not Embiid? Why not? You know, there's a couple other guys. I'm like, well, he's played 28 games. Norm Powell, let me see if I look it up here quickly. Like, I feel like Norm Powell's played almost like every game
Yeah, I feel like
for
he's an
for the Heat so far this year. But let's see here. Norm Powell, where are
I
you?
don't even think Knicks fans would tell you that Towns is an all-star.
Yeah, Towns. Yeah, 43 games for Norm Powell this year, averaging 23 points. I got no problem with Norm. I think the Heat, you know, they've been pretty solid all year, right? Like they can have one guy. Like I think that's totally fine. Yeah, Towns is the guy that I'm like, I don't know, especially the way Knick fans are feeling about him right now. You know, but we'll see. But I don't think in the East, I don't think there's really any major snubs that I would say really jump out to me. I do think, however, when you go to the West, there's a pretty big snub. West All-Star reserves here, just rolling through them. We got Anthony Edwards, Jamal Murray, Chet Holmgren, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Denny Avdia, and LeBron James. Greg,
LeBron made it. This is my first time looking at them. We're getting my live reaction here.
do me a favor, pull up Kawhi Leonard and pull up LeBron James's stats. And it's going to be pretty jarring when you look at the two and you just go line for line and try to figure out, other than the fact that one of them is LeBron James and one of them is a guy that signed a fake tree contract that the NBA kind of wants to punish but doesn't really know what to do.
Right.
And the All-Star game's in his home arena, but they're going to give it to the other guy who's not in his home arena, but it is his home city where he plays.
Yeah.
Other than those contextual facts, it's going to be really hard to look at those and say, oh yeah, LeBron over Kawhi makes a lot of sense, because
that's tough. Kawhi's been great this season.
He's crushing it, dude. His numbers are nuts. And ever since he's been kind of riding the ship, like, Clippers are making a real run at like getting back in this thing.
Yeah, no, they've been best team in basketball over the past like 20 games. So, yes, LeBron being over Kawhi, that's a travesty. LeBron hasn't been at the level that Kawhi's been at. Denny Avdia has been great, but even Denny Avdia over Kawhi seems crazy. Like, I would pick Denny over LeBron for sure, but like, Kawhi should be on this team. He's been one of the main reasons the Clippers have been the best team in basketball over the past 20 games. So, one overall thing though, man, is like there's a real change into the guard here, just in terms of the names that you see. Like, a lot of younger guys, the Cades of the world, the Maxis, the Scotty Barnes, Jalen Duren, Jalen Johnson, like these types of guys. Denny Avdia in there now, Chet, like a lot of guys that it's just one of those moments where a few years from now we're going to look back at this year and be like, okay, this is where the NBA like really started to change towards this like Gen Z crop of players.
I mean, I know what's crazy when you put it like that is, so we still have LeBron, we still have KD, we still have Steph. But kind of outside of that, like within the next probably year or two, obviously no Kawhi, no James Harden this year. Like, those are some of the guys that were still continually making All-Star games. But when you look to, maybe next year's All-Star game, the quote unquote old heads are going to be basically like Giannis, Jokic, Tatum might even be considered
Jalen
in that group, Jalen, right? Donovan Mitchell. Like, those are guys that still feel young, but they're actually potentially the quote unquote old heads by the time we get to the All-Star game next year. So yeah, I think that definitely does signify a big time changing of the guard. So as I mentioned, All-Star break coming up here. Celtics just run through their schedule here leading up to the All-Star break. I mentioned Dallas and Houston this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, back-to-back here in the Lone Star State. Day off on Thursday, which is the trade deadline. Friday, home for Miami. Then it is home to New York pre-Super Bowl. Great Sunday lineup, man. Knicks and Celtics early in the day. A little bit of a break. Get your snacks ready. Then we got the Super Bowl. Pats, Seahawks, going down February 8th, and then one more game before the break. So really a pretty nice break for the Celtics after Super Bowl Sunday. They get one game against the Bulls on Wednesday, and then they are off until the following Thursday when they play at Golden State. A little bit of a West Coast trip after the All-Star break. So feels like within this, with the deadline coming up on Thursday and then the All-Star break following that about a week right after, we're going to know a lot about Jason Tatum coming up here pretty soon. So stay tuned, stay locked in at Green MB Pod. Make sure that y'all are rolling with us. Let's go to America's favorite segment, Mediocre Life Update. We're going to cut it there. All right. We're bringing in producer Alex Gonzalez, fresh off we're just going to start here, Greg. I'm just going to go right to it.
Yeah, that's what Alex, I was hoping you'd do.
Alex, you are currently interning for the Washington Capitals. However, you made a surprise appearance at the Wizards game today. Tell us about it.
I sent you guys the videos, I believe, of me on the court today.
We'll post it on social later. So give the audience a little bit of a description.
I mean, honestly, I go to the stadium today and I have no idea what I'm doing. Basically what I did was they had us like hold pizza boxes. There was like a little, like, the little games they have people do in between timeouts. So basically we, us, the interns,
one of the best parts of League Pass, baby.
Yeah. So like they had me hold a pizza box and a pool noodle, and the objective of the game is to knock off people's pizza boxes with your pool noodle.
Like jousting.
Horrible. Yeah, pretty much. They told us to
Oh,
be
this is
because
like
you only
a
have like a minute and a
Game of
half.
Thrones right now. Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah,
It's a lot of jousting in
yeah.
there.
Dude, I'm excited for that. That came out 15 minutes ago. I'm gonna watch that later. But yeah, so I
Did
did
you see
horrible.
Danielle's grandpa in episode 2?
Yeah, yes,
I
saw
haven't
that.
watched the show yet, but that's all I've heard is that there's some guy with a horse cock. So
Yes,
Yo,
that's
shout,
like
shout,
the,
shout out to the wifey. She made that joke before even I did. She as soon as it came out, she's like, "Oh my god, is that Danielle's grandfather?"
yeah, that was like the cold opened episode too.
Yeah.
That was a complete shock. So I can't wait to see the open for this one. But yeah, so that
Back to
was
the
what I
pool noodle
did.
jousting.
Yeah, I don't think I swung my pool noodle once. I just was immediately taken out both times
Oh
within
no.
like 5 seconds.
It's disappointing.
Yeah,
Man. You really let the show
second
down.
we got like 2 chances. So the first time I went up, there was another intern. His name is Amon Ra. He's like 6'6", so he just like knocked my thing right off immediately. So I was done there. And then the second time, another intern just like completely whacked my arm. So there goes my pizza box.
So
and I
was it
eliminated.
actually set up like a joust, like you're running at each other holding a pizza box and a pool noodle?
Yeah, I mean not like a joust. It was like a free for all basically. It was like 15
Okay.
of us.
Kind
And
of like
then,
dribble knockout, but with
but with a pizza
pizza
box
boxes
pool
and noodles.
Yeah,
Cool. I like that.
And then before that, they introduced us, and we got to do a t-shirt toss. So that was actually kind of cool.
You were the one that threw the t-shirt?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I've always wanted
Costa,
to do that. Tell me, what was
yeah,
that like?
no, it was cool.
How did you choose the people that you threw it to?
That's
Costa
a good
was there,
question.
so I got 2 tickets for Costa and his father for his dad's birthday. So they were
Nice.
sitting in section 108.
Did you have the arm strength to get up to them? Like how
I was so
high up were
close.
they?
I was actually so close. I was like, there's like a little railing, and he like reached his arm down, and it just hit his fingertips, and then it went through the railing into like the underneath stadium part. So they didn't get the shirt.
Oh man, so that's on him, man. If it hits the fingertips, that's on him. He's got to make the catch.
Yeah,
you
he
gotta
should have
bring
just
that
gone
in.
full out and leaped over the railing to catch it.
Yeah.
Dude, so have you guys ever seen that clip of, I think it's Kelsey Plum when she's at the Spurs game like a while back, and it pops up on social media every now and then where it shows her doing the t-shirt toss. Have you guys know the clip I'm talking about? Okay, I'll have to show it to you later. But like she does like this like crow hop. I think she's throwing left hand. She like hits in the upper deck. So I know in my head that's like all I'm thinking about is like, okay, I gotta beat that Kelsey Plum clip. I've got to do it. That'd be the only thing I'm thinking about. I'm sure I'd throw my arm out.
Oh yeah. Did you get to warm up at all, like backstage?
No, I hurt my arm immediately after I threw it.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that would be my thing. I was like, I'd be doing some like serious calisthenics to get my arm ready.
I threw it pretty far though. I think I was like bottom corner, and they were like section 108 row R, so they were kind of up there, and I got it close. The first I got 2 shirts, so the first one completely missed. Probably went like 20 yards left. I might have hit someone in the head. I did not look. The second throw was much more accurate than the first one.
They didn't give you the shirt cannon though, did they?
No, they didn't. That would have been cool.
Oh,
but the shirts are kind
cannon.
of bundled up. They were a little bit heavy, so you're able to throw them a little bit.
So Alex, I gotta ask you this second question that's completely unrelated to your time on the court. So on the Zach Lowe pod, they mentioned the haircut that you have. I don't know if you caught this, but they called it the llama cut, and they
This
said
haircut
that
I have right now.
Yeah, with like all the fluff in the front, they called it the llama cut, and some people are calling it the Hugo Gonzalez cut. And as a fellow Gonzalez, I was wondering, is this a Gonzalez cut? Is this a 19-year-old cut? How old are you? 23? Is this just like people that are your age or getting this haircut? Because I got to tell you, man, it's pretty nice to be able to hide the fact that like you could have a receding hairline. Like my hairline's definitely going back a little bit, and I've thought about trying to, have some bangs or whatever, but I'm just like, nah, I can't do that. But tell us about the haircut and your thoughts on it being called the Ugo.
Yeah, my hair is kind of long right now, so I'm actually supposed to. My mom keeps asking me to get a haircut. I don't know. I kind of just like, I never really knew what to do with my hair. I don't put any product in it or anything. Like I just kind of like wash it and then I just am ready to go. So it changes day to day. It's cool to know that another fellow Gonzalez has the same haircut as me. I've been rocking it longer probably because I'm older than him. So maybe I should change it to the Alex.
Alex, have you ever had gauges in your ear?
Gauges? What is that?
Those like long ass earrings that like gothy
it's like a
kids put
hockey
in their ear.
Ear, basically, in your earlobe, basically.
No, I have not.
Because your AirPods kind of look like them right now, and I feel like you could rock them if you wanted to go gauges.
Yeah, I know. I just got these for Christmas, by the way. I don't know when the last time I was on the podcast, but
been a minute, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah,
I'm excited to have you on. We're catching up live here.
I know.
Anything else? Anything else you want to catch us up on? Mediocre Life update?
Well, that the experience today was my mediocre life update. It was cool to be on the court, but at the same time, like I didn't really do anything. I just kind of got destroyed. But the finale, they had like a 7-foot trophy for the intern that won the whole thing. Nice. But like the final thing was a dance.
We could have added that to the Green with Envy trophy room, Alex. Really let us down today, man.
I mean, I'm quite glad I didn't have to do the dance contest.
So if you had to do a dance, right? Will would crush it in a dance contest. That's what he lives for. What would be the dance that you go to?
A lot of practice, but I'd give it a go.
I don't have a dance. Like I don't have like I don't have like a dance that I would go to.
Would you just like stand there motionless?
Yeah,
would you do the what's the Kevin James like from Hitch or the Will Smith to Kevin? You live right here, just side to side.
You don't need to make no pizza. They got food there.
Yeah, they got there. You don't need to make it. That can be just always in your back pocket, just in case. I would have to do in honor of John Wall. I'd probably hit the Dougie. That's probably the number.
Yeah,
easiest.
No one did the Dougie. I'm surprised.
Like yeah, that was cool. I saw the video of all the Wizards fans doing it earlier. Actually, yeah, you were in Washington. Yeah. That would have been very appropriate to bust out.
That was a couple days ago. His
honor of John Wall. Yeah, his retirement. All right, Greg, what do you got for your mediocre life update?
Okay, so I'm gonna go kind of steal Bill Simmons' parent corner here. With James, he's always loved taking a tub. Loves a tub. Loves a bubble bath. But recently, and not that recently, but over Christmas, we had people like staying at our house. We had our dog sitter, also your dog sitter, Virginia. Shout out, Virginia. She was staying at our house, and I didn't get around to washing the tub like after she left. Like that's his tub. So I was like, all right, like you'll take tubs in our tub. So he's taking baths in our bath, and we have a different shower setup. So in the one in the guest room where he normally bathes, there's just like one shower head, and it's removable, but we don't really use it on him. But we never turn the shower on. And in ours, there's like we have a little hose one that comes off, and we also have this like big ass one, not quite like a rain, what is it called, like a rain shower or whatever. We don't have quite one of those, but it's very different looking from the other shower, right? And I decided the other day, because he took like a real bubble bath, and I took the bubble bath with him. So we were both in there. I was putting like the bubbles all over my face, and he was loving it. But we were all just like covered in bubbles at the end of it. So I was like, all right, well, we got to get the bubbles off of us. So I turned the shower on, and he didn't love it. He was just like, he's freaking out, and he like climbed up my shoulder like a little monkey. So I was like holding him and had to corral him and get all the bubbles off him. But now, because I still haven't cleaned the guest shower, every time he takes the bath, we go into my tub, and he's terrified of going into the tub now, because he goes in and he's immediately looking up at the shower head, expecting the water to turn on. And I missed it. I missed a point. So there was another bath right after that where I turned the shower on just to see what would happen. And he like freaked out, and like he slipped and fell, and he was just like, once again, like clamoring to get out of the tub. So now he's like freaking out every time he goes in there. And today he wouldn't even go in the tub. I had to go in with him and take the tub with him because he was so scared to take a bath. So that's my mediocre life update. Don't turn on the shower to torture your kids.
So in the original bath where he usually takes it, is it like it's usually a faucet instead of like the coming from the shower head?
Yeah, and it's a little bit more open, and it's a faucet, and we also have this like whale thing. It's like a whale that covers the actual faucet, so it looks a lot more friendly and like a lot more.
Yeah, it's like a filter, probably, right? That's like the actual thing it does, but it has like a,
I don't even think it's a filter. I think it's just there for the aesthetics of it, and maybe to prevent him from like hitting his head on the metal or whatever. But yeah, it's just like very different looking from our tub. The lighting's different. I feel like the guest room is just like lit a little bit better than ours is as well. It's been fun taking bubble baths again though.
Yeah, I was gonna say that actually does sound fun. Is the bubble bath part. We haven't quite got there yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I was thinking of probably doing something with that because we're going to the beach end of March. So I'm like, all right, I gotta start getting her more, she likes a bath time, but like I gotta get her like ready to like maybe not go in the ocean full on, but we have a pool like at our place that we're staying. So we're doing a little bit of water work over here. So good to know, don't freak her out with the with the actual shower head.
Yeah, he's also like getting like anytime he hears like a loud noise, like the vacuum turns on, or I run the disposal, or I grind the coffee beans, or like he hears a lawnmower or something
More
like that.
aware, man. You've been doing this his whole life, but he just didn't know what it was. Now he's like, oh, I know things.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit more scared, but he's typically fearless. It's just like loud noises right now is the one thing that like gets him to run over to me, which is cute because he runs over to me with his arms up and like wants to be picked up. But yeah, but he's growing, dude. You saw the video I posted the other day, Will. He's like he's shooting on the hoop that you got him. He's got good form already. He watches basketball with me. If I turn the game off and he's watching it and he yells at me and he goes, ball. And I'm like, all right, dude, I'll turn the game back on. So it's been fun, man. He's growing. He's 19 months in a couple days. So time's flying.
Already calling for the ball in the post. Ball. I like it. All right, my mediocre life update is actually also somewhat basketball adjacent, so I'll go to it. I was traveling for work this past week. Was at a sales kickoff for my work, and happened to be just that we were in Waltham, so just outside the Boston area. But one of the nights we rented out a brewery that's right next to Fenway. I've never been there before. I think it's called like Chugging Monkey or Cheeky Monkey or something like that. Pretty cool. It's just like a brewery, ton of food, bunch of like arcade games, stuff like that. So Greg, you know how it goes when me and you get together and we see a Papa Shot. You might as well clear out. That becomes the whole night. So, I'm at a work event. I know some people. It's a decent size organization. I don't know everybody. And it's a mixture of like salespeople, and then also like our leadership summit was the next day. So it's like a mixture of like other departments that I really don't know at all. So, I see it over there, and like they give us some cards. So we can go play some games. And I'm like, I'm definitely gonna play at some point, but I'm biding my time. I'm like, I can't be just running over like, hey guys, don't talk to me for the rest of the night. I'm just playing Papa Shot. So I'm kind of waiting. I'm waiting. Eventually I see one of the dudes that actually started the same time that's been the company like 3 years or so, a little over 3 years. And I was like, oh, nice. My guy Jaren's over there. Boom. This is my opportunity. All right, dump my food. Let's go. Jaren, me and you. I want the ones. Let's get this going here. So
was it side by side Papa Shot or
side by side? I actually found out later. There was like, if you go upstairs, they have like 15 more, but I didn't know there was an upstairs because I was so focused on like the 7 games downstairs, and 2 of them were Papa Shot. So me and him are about to play, and then one of these other girls wanted to jump in that I hadn't met yet. And she's like, no, I want to play you first. Like, all right, cool, whatever. So there's like, maybe 5 or 6 of us hanging around. They had already been playing for a little bit. So we jump in, we start playing. Didn't even realize like the high score was like, 115 or something. Didn't realize how much of a heater I had got on. Dropped 139 on that bitch. Was feeling really good. Was
really good, dude.
Dude, it was honestly, I feel like it. I did not realize that. Everyone looked up, was like, holy shit. And I was like, yeah.
139?
It was, I mean, it's one of those ones. So the way it works is there was like up to 45 seconds. I think it's all 2s, and the rim does move a little bit. And then it's like the last 15 seconds is all 3s or something.
You put up 139 in 1 minute.
Bro, it was pretty crazy. So this is what I'm getting to. This is what I'm getting to here. It's crazy. And so there's like the 5 or 6 of them that are there. And so we start playing a few more times. I beat a few other people. Don't get that score again, but I get like around 100 or whatever, or like 70, 80, 90, whatever. Doing pretty well. Another dude comes over who's like, shout out to my guy Jalen. He's definitely like probably the most athletic guy, and like works out constantly, in great shape. Shout out to you, my guy. I don't know how you do it with 4 kids. That's fucking bananas. Also has twins, by the way. So we were talking about twins earlier. And he comes over and he's like, yo, who beat my high score? And I was like, yo, what's up, dog? So he's like, all right, well, we gotta get it. So then me and him go head to head, and now there's like kind of a crowd built up for it. So when I did it, there was only like a few people around. Me and him go head to head. Can't lie, got belt to ass. He took me down. He took me down like probably like 100 to like 85, 80 or something like that. So I was like, all right, let's run it back. I'm stubborn as hell. we're doing this again. And now I'm like pissed off. Beat me again, like 105-90. So here's what I got to ask. And I beat everybody else that entire night.
Yeah.
Just lost to him those 2 times when we had an audience. So I felt conflicted the rest of the night.
Mm-hmm.
I had the high score, but I lost the head-to-head showdown that everybody saw. How should I feel?
Bro, you got 139.
Right? Dude, this is what I told. This is what I told.
That's like impossible. That means you didn't miss a shot, and you were
like a guy that's like cycling the balls with one hand and just like throwing it. Like,
dude,
I've never gotten. I don't think I've ever gotten like over 110. Like maybe
it's easily the highest I've ever gotten, easily, like without a doubt. Like the rest of the night,
bro.
Yeah, it was.
I got newfound respect for you, dude. You won the night. 139. You won that might be like an all-time high score.
Yeah, I mean, I think each of those games does it a little bit differently, but like it was really good. But this is what I compared it to: is I'm Wilt Chamberlain, man. I scored 100. Nobody was there to see. I had a little note in crayon that says 139.
Yeah,
and then Bill Russell came in and won with all the lights on. That's end of the day. That's how I felt about it.
What do you think, Alex?
I just looked this up. Do you want to guess what the highest Pop-A-Shot score was for January this year?
First of all, where is this data coming from?
Let's check. The monthly leaderboard. I guess there's like an actual league for this. So
okay. Does it tell you how long they have
a leaderboard?
Okay, I'm gonna go.
There's a video of it.
145.
I'm gonna say like 170.
It's 340.
Get the fuck out of here.
There's a video
dudes
of it.
there's dude, I've seen the guys that do it where it's like legitimately it feels like their hands, they're not even looking, they're just like looking down, but they're making everything and it's one hand and
they gotta be
jugglers. Okay, I will say it's a smaller hoop. They have like smaller balls. But in this video, this guy is going right hand, left hand, and he's not missing both hands.
Yeah, that's I've seen these videos before. That's why I knew the number would be like astronomical. Like it's pretty crazy. 139 for a normie, pretty good.
Yeah, like if your whole life is like you're a professional Pop-A-Shot guy, okay. Like get out of here. Like you don't count. Like you do something better with your life, dude. But if you're just like a guy that plays basketball and like sees a Pop-A-Shot when he's out drinking sometimes, that's pretty good, Will. Shout out to you.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, my back hurts still to this day.
I think you won though.
It came at a price. It came at a price. All right.
You think Will won, Alex?
Yeah, I do. I have a quick story before we get out. But like my friend in college there was a Pop-A-Shot at a local bar, and he like went up to it. And there was like this girl playing, and he played basketball in high school. He thought he could easily win, so he challenged her. And like it was like a paid thing, and he got like hustled out of like $40. She beat him like 8 times.
Yeah, that's tough.
Good.
Cause like Pop-A-Shot, like Will's a good shooter. It's a different game. It doesn't matter if you're like a great basketball shooter. It's a different touch. It's a different ball. Form doesn't matter as much. There's like a completely different form for you. See some people that go like trying to bank the shot in every time and stuff.
Well, I was gonna say that's depending on which hoop it is. Sometimes that is the right move, sometimes it's not, and that's where like I think because sometimes I get caught off guard on the ones where like I'm trying to shoot it like a real basketball, and it's like there's not enough room for like that type of like touch, and like you're actually just back rimming everything. You know what I mean? And it's like you're better off because all of these are like you're almost better just like aiming for like either banking it or doing the front rim so that either just scooches over or you get like that like soft roll. Like those are kind of the way to play most of them, but you know, some are different. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for making me feel better. I wrestled with that for a while. So it's good to know that, you know, maybe I still got it here and, you know, let's get some Pop-A-Shot going with the fellas. Maybe we'll get together and do some Pop-A-Shot. Sounds like a good time.
Sounds fun.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode here of Green with Envy. Again, like we said, trade deadline coming up. Celtics got Dallas and Houston back-to-back this week. So likely Greg and I will either have something for you after the game on Wednesday or we'll wait to the deadline. We'll see how things are kind of looking. But midweek, we will have another episode for you. So appreciate you guys rocking with us as always. And we will catch you later this week. Peace.